You are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue, Thursday, June 22nd, and another episode for you here today. We are getting closer and closer to football season now, and nearing the end of June, so show will be pretty fitting today. So we have a rant to start off on the Buffalo Bills, Brian Daboll in New York, kind of the combination of the two, how they look split up now, and kind of who won that breakup. And then we're going to have hits and misses to close out the first segment right there. In the second segment, more NFL, up, down, sideways, where we go through. We have 7 NFL teams. Which way are they trending? Are they trending up, down, or they're just kind of flatlining and staying sideways? And then we'll have some sports news there in the second segment to close that out. And in the third segment, college baseball has been a huge topic. We're going to dive into that, into the College World Series check-in in Omaha. But guys, thanks for joining us. No matter how you are, you can watch the show on YouTube. You can watch us on Spotify as well as Amazon Prime Video. And then if you want to listen to the show, throw it on in the car or something, we got Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, and of course iTunes. We are everywhere podcasts are available, so go check it out. We appreciate you being here. The Issue Sports.
College World Series has been fantastic.
It has been. I've really enjoyed it.
I mean, the amount of late game comebacks, 8th, 9th inning, comebacks and heroics has been fantastic. So you mentioned the Buffalo Bills, the Giants, Daboll, all that, and I've said it a bunch, and I'll continue to say it. We've said it before on the show. A great way to see a person's worth is how the company, the unit, the division, the family, how do they hold up after you leave? Right, that's going to tell you your worth. And how important you are. Right, Brian Daboll has gone, to the New York Giants, and in his first season he led the Giants to a playoff win, and the team looked significantly better. They looked much improved under Daboll's direction. And to me it's clear that on Brian's side of the ball, offense, the Buffalo Bills have appeared to regress without him. Ken Dorsey now the offensive coordinator. I'm asking myself why. Right, it's like most of the same pieces, and you look statistically like, they're about the same. They're about the same on third down, and they're tops in the league even in that category. And they're top 10 in red zone and top 3 in scoring offense, and they're the number 2 in yards. The run game was fine. I mean, it was 7th in football. Granted, Josh Allen helps out a lot on that, but still, they can run the football. Yeah, the defense has some flaws, but it's without a doubt a top 10 defense. Their line isn't great. I know that's the weak spot. They allowed the 8th fewest sacks last year. So it's like, why are the Bills regressing? I mean, yes, Stefon Diggs is unhappy. Big shocker. Right? Like, we're all floored that a diva wide receiver is upset. Right? He's always unhappy. I mean, the man was 5th in yards. This is in the entire league. 5th in yards, 5th in targets, 4th in catches, tied for 3rd in touchdowns. Yet he's unhappy. Stefon, go kick rocks. I don't understand it. You have a top 3 most talented quarterback in the game. You're being used just fine. You're 5th in targets. Oh, I want to be number 1 in targets. Well, I hate to break it to you, man. You're not number 1 in talent. You're a good receiver. You're a top 5 receiver. Let's not act like you're A.J. Brown, because you're not. You're probably not Jamar Chase. You're probably not Justin Jefferson. That puts you at best 4th. I would probably take Tyreek Hill because he's better. He's more special at something. Stefon Diggs is good at everything. Tyreek Hill is all-worldly at something. So that's at best the 5th best. And that makes sense. He's 5th in yards, 5th in targets, 4th in catches, 3rd in touchdowns. Oh, I'm unhappy with my usage rate. Of course. Another diva receiver. He's a joke as a professional. A joke. I don't take him seriously even a little bit. But that's not the problem. Like I said, you see he's productive. He's not the problem. So what is the real problem? It's going to, it's not going to be a surprise. And it's going to hurt to say as a Josh Allen fan, but it's the turnovers. They led the entire league this past season in turnovers, as in worst in the league. They had the most amount of turnovers in football last year. That's odd because I wonder if I checked Brian Daboll in the Giants stats. I wonder if he's good at minimizing turnovers. I wonder if it's like a strength of his. Well, in 2021, with a very similar roster in New York, Daniel Jones still at the helm, different coach, the Giants led the league in turnovers. Worst in football. 32nd of 32 teams. This year, second in football. Cut their turnovers in half. In half. Buffalo added like 11 turnovers. They went from 13th in football to 27th. There is your impact of Brian Daboll. Stefon Diggs is going to be unhappy no matter what. He had a great number 2 receiver, a very, very competent coach, and a very competent quarterback in Minnesota, putting up top 10 numbers across the league. And he still forced his way out. Of course. Of course he did. Because it's Stefon Diggs. He's not going to work anywhere. Right? He's productive. He's not going to just fit in. He's not going to be a Larry Fitzgerald, get the first down, give the ball to the ref. I'm happy no matter how many targets I get a game, as long as the team's winning. It's not Stefon Diggs. And to his credit, to his defense, not everybody has to be Larry Fitzgerald. Right? Like, I was okay with Antonio Brown being a little bit diva-esque, but he's giving me 1,800 yards a year with like 18 touchdowns. I don't care if he wants more targets. If he's giving me that sort of production, fine. Right? And to Stefon's defense, I don't really care that he's unhappy. He can complain all he wants. Doesn't matter. As long as he's showing up to the game and giving me this production, I don't care. So the real problem is the turnovers, and that's nothing new. But you see with a defensive head coach, Sean McDermott, defensive culture in Buffalo, it's been like that forever. They don't understand the sensibility of offense. They let Brian Daboll walk. They don't replace him with an adequate enough, person. I think Ken Dorsey's fine. More of a quarterback's coach. And when he was a quarterback's coach, Josh Allen was really good. As a coordinator, he has regressed. You have to get the offense right. You have to get the quarterback right. You have to do everything you can that is in your power to make sure your quarterback is as good as humanly possible. That's why I defended Dallas for years, and I actually, not even defended, I actually kind of went at them for complaining about Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator. I go, you're paying Dak $45 million? You have to do everything you can to make Dak look like a superstar. Because talent-wise, he's not. Right? You have to do everything you can to make that quarterback work. Joe Burrow getting Jamar Chase. You have to do everything you can to make that quarterback look, feel, and play well. And it's the same thing here. Josh Allen is not being given the opportunity to look good, feel good, play good. Right? Ken Dorsey is not that guy. Sean McDermott has not built that culture in Buffalo. And you're going to see them regress even more. You're looking at teams. Who's going to make the playoffs that's new this year? And who's going to drop out, right? It happens every year, either 2 or 3 times each side of the league, AFC, NFC. And you look at the AFC, it's like, well, Miami got better. Maybe Baltimore will probably fall out. But it's like the Chargers got better with Kellen Moore and they added more talent. I mean, Denver just got a Hall of Fame coach and has a Hall of Fame quarterback. They'll probably be better. What are the teams on the fall? Buffalo. Buffalo is, we're going to play up, down, sideways. We don't have them in there. They're down. They're trending down. You have to understand offense in this day and age. It is 2023 NFL football. If your offense isn't good, if you're turning the ball over, you are not going to be successful, especially in the playoffs. That's what we've seen the last 2 years.
Well, I think another big part of this that people haven't looked at completely and really taken the time to let it sink in and realize the fact that Brian Daboll leaving. So I think Buffalo became a little bit too dependent and a little bit too confident in the fact that Josh Allen would be able to carry that weight. The offense, when Daboll was there, was top of the league. Like, when we were doing our power rankings, it was like, oh my God, did we put the Chiefs or the Bills at number 1? And it was noticeable that they were a fantastic offensive power to be reckoned with. But he leaves, and like you said, they don't replace him. They don't go find another offensive mastermind. They don't even put in really the effort to go do a gigantic job search around the NFL as they probably should have to find that next guy to work with Josh Allen. I think at that point they almost gave Josh Allen the keys a bit too early and just said, hey man, look, this is all on you. We know you're special at quarterback. We know you're top of the league, one of the best in the game. You're going to figure this out. And so far, they've taken steps back and they have regressed. And I think that's because they have become even more Josh Allen dependent. They never had a run game, so they were always dependent on him. But now they are like uber dependent on Josh Allen. And I think that's where you're starting to see those steps back and starting to take that downfall a little bit.
I think it's fair. There's a real thing. When Dak throws more than 30 times, he's a sub 500 quarterback. When he throws less, he wins like 80% of his games. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Can't rely on the quarterback.
So let's go, guys. We're going to get into some hits and misses here. Go over where we were right and wrong. Let's go.
All right, hit one. I said for months on end, right? I said this when I think the Buccos won like 11 straight or something like that. And I said, hey, pump the brakes. They're a young team. They're going to regress back to the mean. They're going to compete. They're going to be a competitive team, somewhere around 500.
They did just that.
I mean, they've dropped below 500. They have regressed back to the mean. They are actually like 3 or 4 games below. They've lost 7 straight. Yeah. And they're third in the NL Central, right? They just have not been playing good baseball. Good news, they called up Henry Davis, right? So if you see the trajectory of the season is going down, call up your young guys, get them some experience, get the young guys at bats. That's fine. If they finish with 75 wins, but Henry Davis is up and he gets experience, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
You're not a championship team anyway. Get experience, get better. There's no sense in Austin Hedges catching every day. There's no value to that.
Right. I think we've been pushing for Henry Davis to come up for what?
Either him or Andy.
4 or 5 weeks now?
Almost a month. I mean, we want him to come right from Double-A. I said, don't even, why make the pit stop in Triple-A? Just bring him all the way up.
Yeah.
I mean, he lasted 10 games in Triple-A.
First career hit, double. Smoked down the left field line. Smoked it. He's
got a pretty swing.
Yeah, he does. And, super good, sound defensive catcher.
Yeah.
So I
can play right field. He just plays a really nice right field.
He's quick. The way he got around those base paths, I was like, for a catcher? What's his 60 time? He'd be like, what, 6'9", maybe 7?
Probably even less than that. I mean, at the end of the day, he has a big league, I have no idea. But anyway, I mean, like, there's also something to be said for the no batting gloves, right? Like,
this is hard-nosed.
I like it. He fits Pittsburgh. And we talk about this with quarterbacks. Like, quarterbacks kind of feel like they fit their team in their area, and if they do, that's really, really good. Like John Elway, tough, rugged Denver back in the day, felt like Denver, right? Big Ben in Pittsburgh, big, hardworking, physical guy. Like Josh Allen in Buffalo, right?
Right.
Patrick Mahomes, like, kind of flashy, right? Yeah. Kansas City can be flashy at times, right?
They got the royal blue.
But at the end of the day, like, down to earth, humble, right? Like,
super blue collar.
Yeah, very Kansas City.
Can work with anyone.
Yeah, Henry Davis feels like Pittsburgh.
Henry Davis, 6'1", 175 pounds, runs a 7.1260.
Oh, 7.12. Okay, all right. Yeah. I don't even know what I'd run at 8 seconds. If it's below 8, I'll be a happy camper. I don't know. I don't run. Miss number 1 here. I haven't necessarily been a fan of the no salary cap in the MLB, and mostly for fairness, right? The Yankees can go pay $400 million if they want to because they have the market to do so. But the Buccos, and now I'm not defending them spending no money, but the Buccos, market-wise, can't compete with a team like that. But I will say, this year we were wrong. The Dodgers have been paying a lot. The Yankees are paying a lot. The Padres are paying a lot. None of them are playing good baseball right now.
Nope.
Right? The Diamondbacks are in first place in Little Arizona. The Reds are competing. They've won 9 straight, right?
Even
like
Boston's in last.
Milwaukee's in first place, right? Like, those are the teams that right now have been winning baseball games.
Sure.
It's weird. It goes against the norm, but I'm here for it. I love it.
Which is cool. I think we would see more of that on like a year-to-year basis if there was a salary cap. I think that would help even the playing field a bunch. But like years like this, I mean, yeah, you can go out and pay $400 million, but if that $400 million is going to the wrong guys, it doesn't really matter all that much.
And I said I didn't love the Padres giving Xander Bogaerts a ton of money. He was almost 30 years old. They gave him like 11 years. I was like, all right,
we've seen the fallout of that.
All right, hit number 2 here. This was especially your hit here. You weren't a fan of Zach Wilson from the very beginning. I said there's something there, but he needs a lot of work. Obviously, he didn't get that work. Yeah,
though.
And just kind of everything about him, and then saying, oh, I'm going to make the next guy that comes in here, I'm going to make his life hell. And then Aaron's like, yeah, no, I mean, it's been pretty cool. It's been fine. Yeah. So, I mean, you were right there. We were correct there.
And I mean, so far in camp, I mean, I don't know. I was a little shocked by this, but like, maybe I wasn't. I don't know. Zach Wilson has taken 2 snaps with the first team. Now, I understand he's not the starter. Aaron Rodgers is the clear-cut number 1 and a QB1 in New York. But you would assume that a quarterback that has started a season in the NFL would at least take more than 2 reps with the first team, especially when we know Aaron is older and how important it is to have that number 2 guy ready to go. Sure, you're going to take the majority of your reps with the second team. I get that. You're going to be the backup. But, like, you started a year. And like, you need to be prepared. You need to have a relationship with these guys.
I will say,
there's a lot of new guys.
Yeah. I do like that. I do like that Aaron is the one that is like the older of the 2 quarterbacks that's there to. I know Aaron's not necessarily a great mentor, but he's a good guy for Zach to kind of shadow in a sense, right? Because we said Zach Wilson at his peak. What could Zach Wilson be? Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's got a very similar delivery, similar arm motion, right?
Sure.
A very similar style of play, right? Kind of playmaker, but at the end of the day, like, better from the pocket. Mm-hmm. But Zach Wilson just wasn't very good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
he's a little undersized.
But at the end of the day, like, that was, when we do comps, we do more like high-end comp, low-end comp, right? Because it's very hard to be like, oh, he's going to be this guy specifically. Because now you're talking Super Bowl, stats, what are his coaches?
Bunch of MVPs.
What's his supporting cast? Like, there's too much that goes into just, can he be this guy? But if you can give a high end and a low end, you can be like, okay, so he's that type of player. Where does he fall in that range, right? So Zach Wilson, I was like, okay, high end Aaron Rodgers. What do we say his low end was like Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
And so now this paints a picture. He's been a lot closer to Manziel than Aaron Rodgers.
Hell of a lot closer.
But he's still in that style of play. And so it's good for him to see how that style of play should be played.
Right.
With a Hall of Fame.
Even if he's not getting it verbally right from Aaron and like
just
clear
watching
instruction.
It. Yeah, 100%.
Emulating a great.
Yeah, miss number 2 here. We don't talk soccer at all. We hate soccer mostly. I'm not gonna lie. It's not super interesting. Nobody really cares.
Keep that shit in Europe.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say though, with Messi coming over for Miami, Inter Miami or whatever, it's that MLS team, and the U.S. men's national team actually being really good, soccer's getting bigger. Now that doesn't mean we're talking about it. I'm not gonna sit here and actually give you like analysis about soccer. I don't care.
This might be the first time we've ever brought it up.
Yeah, this might be the first time.
This show's been going on for almost 3
I think we
years
mentioned
now.
like how much we don't care during the World Cup, so that's why, kind of talking how we don't care.
We may have done that.
Yeah, but I will say it's a miss on our part in the fact that like other people do care. Like, it's growing in popularity in the United States. Sure. Again, I don't care, you don't care. Most of the fans that watch our show don't care, so we're not going to talk about it a lot. But it's getting bigger. Good for you if you're a soccer fan. Good for U.S. men's soccer.
Sure.
But nonetheless, we don't care. We won't care for any ever.
Yeah, the show is going to hit 3-year anniversary in I think July 2nd.
And that's the second time we brought up soccer.
And I think that might be one of the first times we've ever talked about soccer.
Hopefully it stays like that. Hit number 3 here. Jordan Love is not that guy. We've said that about 1,000 times now. I mean, he can't even make a Father's Day joke about the Bears fans, right? He said, "Happy Father's Day to the Bears fans." Are you implying that Bears fans are your dad? Also, like, Aaron Rodgers did this whole thing, like, hey, Bears fans, like, I'm your dad, like, I own you type thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he did statistically.
Oh, 100%.
So, 2 things. One, why are you taking Aaron Rodgers' joke? Like, you're supposed to be the anti-Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's aging, you're young.
Yeah.
He's rigid with young guys, you're, like, young and fit in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Aaron was more about himself, like, you're supposed to be more about the team, right? Why would you try to, like, don't try to be Aaron Rodgers. Like, please. Yeah. Like, they got out of the Aaron Rodgers business, not because of his talent, because of it's Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, you want to be the anti-Aaron in this situation, like making a joke that Aaron made, or trying to at least, not the best move in and of itself, and then botching the joke is probably not it.
Right.
So we know his on-field performance hasn't been great, and now off the field isn't looking great either.
No, it doesn't look too good. But it does make me wonder if Baker Mayfield sent Roethlisberger a little Happy Father's Day text.
Yeah, maybe send him an edible arrangement. Would that be gay? That's okay.
It might be.
That's okay, though.
I definitely think it could classify as... All right, next.
I couldn't imagine sending my dad an edible arrangement. Okay, next thing. It's usually a text, maybe a case of beer, whatever. Okay, miss number 3. I thought Zion Williamson, I thought he'd be a stud.
Yeah.
Big, can jump out of the gym, powerful, right? Can get to the rim, shoot good enough to keep you honest. So then you go close out. He drives by you. I mean, when he plays, he's a stud. But now he's like, God, this show is going off the rails at the end of this. Just wait for what I said. It's coming unhinged. Zion now doesn't play as much as he should. He's hurt more than he should be. He is making sex tapes with porn stars. I swear to God, this is all real. This is all real.
What is this hits and misses today?
There's trade rumors for him. Like, it went downhill quick for Zion and in New Orleans. Let's just get out of this segment. All right.
It's becoming unglued.
Guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to have a more structured up, down, sideways at the start of the second segment.
Please.
There, we'll finish it off with sports news.
I need a beer.
And third segment, we'll talk a little bit about the College World Series, so don't go anywhere. Good to have you back. Second segment of the issue here on the, 22nd of June.
Yeah.
Bright, sunny 22nd here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We appreciate you joining us, whether that be via YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, whatever. There's about 40 different platforms. Figure it out. Find one of them. Recommend one of them to a friend. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Go check out the store, clothes, all that cool stuff. I don't know, whatever. Go check it out. There's newsletter, clothes, good stuff, good site. This guy right here does a great job. So go check that out. Don't let that go to waste. Like I said, this segment we will have up, down, sideways, NFL edition. We got, 7 teams, which if they're trending up, down, or sideways, or they stay in the same kind of plateauing. We'll then get into sports news per usual to end out the second segment.
Yeah, we've pieced ourselves back together from the end of that first. We kind of got off the rails there a little bit, but hey, it was a good one. It was a good one. That was a solid hits and misses. I would agree. I feel like that's what the people want.
It's what the people need, I would argue.
It is. And what the people need now is to finally get that jolt of NFL that they need, right? We're June 22nd now, so we're getting really close to
slow season. Those
divisional predictions are coming up hot, but in the next, I think 2 to 3 weeks probably we're going to
have some surprises.
There are going to be a lot of surprises. I don't think people are, I don't want to say aware, but we'll use the word aware. I don't think people are aware of just how much has happened in the NFL this offseason and what this draft has meant to so many different organizations and how that's going to flip everything around.
The league fluctuates so much year in and year out.
Which I think makes, honestly, the best product. I think that's why. Best. Yeah, that's why the NFL is so good.
Yeah, I would agree.
But here, this is going to be a good, kind of a temperature gauge. So let's see, we got 7, I got to find the right piece of paper here. We got 7 NFL teams. A couple of them, on the fringe and been in the news a lot, and I think those are the types of teams that people want to hear the most about. So like I said, 7 teams. We're going to go through how they're trending after the offseason, after the schedule release, a couple weeks into camp, like the rookie camp and what we've seen so far come out of that. Going to give you a good baseline reading on where these teams are trending, whether that's up, down, or sideways. So let's get right into it. First team up, we got the New York Jets.
I'm going to go up. I mean, anytime you have the worst quarterback room in football last year and you win 7 games and then you add a Hall of Famer, you're going to be trending up. You get Breece Hall back, the really good rookie running back from last year. Unfortunately got hurt. Hopefully he can come back. And even if he's 80% of what he was, they will have a good, solid run game. Their offensive line wasn't bad last year when healthy. It just got beat up. Elijah Vera Tucker, AVT, a lot of people call him. Very good guard last year. Mm-hmm. He'll be back. And Mekhi Becton will be back and healthy, right? They have pieces that are coming back. They'll be healthy. They have good corners, good pass rusher. It's kind of nice. We talked for years about Brady and Belichick, right? It was good because Brady and McDaniels, they kind of handled the offense.
Yeah. And
then Belichick was an all-world defensive coach. Now, I don't think Saul is an all-world defensive coach, but I think he's a really competent defensive coach with really good talent on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
And now you can supplement it with, at worst, I can't see that offense being any worse than like 15th in the league.
Well, he's got that structure.
And it was like 30th last year. So even if it is 15th, they're going to be a much better football team.
I agree. I think they have the framework and all the makings of a really good team. And in that division, like we said, we're going to have some surprises in our divisional predictions.
Yeah,
this is one of those surprises, I think, where we talked about it to intro the show with your rant on Buffalo. Would it be crazy that the Jets win the division? I'm just going to put it out there. It's just some food for thought. I'm not saying anything. We're not having anything set in stone yet. But just think on it for a couple weeks until we get to the AFC East. Would it be crazy for the Jets to win the division?
I have a big prediction with that is kind of in the works. I need to do some more research on it to make sure it's solid. But with Buffalo and New York and Miami in that division.
All right. Second team here on the docket, we got the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, I'm going to go down. If CeeDee Lamb rolls an ankle, who's catching the football? Brandon Cooks. I mean, you can tell me Brandon Cooks is that guy. I mean, he's a bounce around the league type of guy. He's been to like 7 different teams. There's a reason that he's been to 7 different teams. He's a good pro.
Yeah.
He's your good 2. If he's your 1, you're not a playoff team, right? He's been a 1 in Houston for the last couple of years. They're not a playoff team for more reasons than just that. But that's kind of an example of what he is as a player.
Right.
Tony Pollard's good. Can he handle the entire workload now that it's no Zeke? Offensive line is aging. I think Dak is good, but once you start paying him more and relying on him more, he becomes less effective. He's better when he throws 28 times, not 36. And he's going to be in a lot of instances this year throwing 36. So I would go down.
Even plus.
And you lose a great coordinator.
36 plus, and you lose Kellen Moore, which really hurts. My thing with Dallas is I'm not going to believe anything till I see it. I don't care if they have.
Well, it's their year every year.
Well,
so.
Right. I don't care if they have the best draft, the best offseason. I am still. Like, the jury's still out on Dallas for me until I actually see the pieces come together and then put together a long, sustained, winning season.
I like Mozzie Smith, their draft pick, but yeah, no, I'm with you.
Sure, like, it's just...
We can like a lot of things about Dallas, then next thing you know...
Much like the boy who cried wolf, every single year, everybody in Dallas is hopping all over the Cowboys. Winning the Super Bowl this year. Like we said, you did the TikTok, don't go out and get Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl champions tattooed on your arm quite yet. We still have to see them become the normal Dallas Cowboys.
Another division with big predictions there. All right,
little hometown team for team number 3 here. We're going to go Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think you'd be crazy to say not anything other than up. They're trending up. I mean, look, Kenny Pickett, I think, won 7 of his last 8 games. He had some come-behind victories late in the season, right? Like, you could see the progress with Kenny Pickett. That's only going to get better. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren look like they are poised for a really, really good 1-2 punch in the backfield. I like the receiving core a ton. Allen Robinson, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
2 good tight ends now with Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth. I love the addition of the offensive line, the guy from Georgia, Broderick Jones. Defense is going to be the same thing. I mean, they win a ton when TJ Watt plays. He's healthy. He's going to play probably 14 of 17 games.
Yep.
They'll win about 10 or 11 of them even. So I would go up with the Steelers.
I think so too. And I think a lot of people and a lot of analysts around the NFL kind of have them a little bit deflated. I think that they could vie for the division because I think Baltimore is a very competitive and really good team.
I think Baltimore wins 7 games this year.
They have a lot of injury issues.
I think they win 7 games.
I think Cincinnati's going to be the big dog to beat now for the next couple years to
Pittsburgh. We match up well against Cincinnati. So
yeah. It'll be interesting. Steelers up. 4th team here, we got the Green Bay Packers.
Down. I mean, you lose a Hall of Fame quarterback.
And
I'm like Jordan Love's a fine. He might be fine, but he's not a Hall of Fame level player. So
yeah,
and I'm not saying that they made the wrong decision, but I'm saying you're going to take a step back.
There are certainly concerns, and
it's a reboot. You're going to reboot.
To their defense,
I wouldn't call it a full rebuild, but it's a reboot.
Everybody has been telling Green Bay, and everybody has been all over Green Bay to move off of Aaron, and I feel like they waited a really, really long time to do so. You know you're going to take a little bit of a step back. That's planned. That's built into the plan.
They're trending down, and it's okay. Like, it's okay.
You get a couple years, get a couple draft picks, find out if Jordan Love is the guy. I'm not sure if he is. That's to be determined.
I doubt it, but yeah.
But either way, you lose a guy like Aaron, you're going to be trending down. Next team up, we got the San Francisco 49ers.
I would go sideways.
First sideways of the day, yeah.
They have a really good roster, and I mean they haven't made a ton of improvements, but they haven't really lost anybody. And the quarterback position is still the question mark. It's the same thing every year for the Niners. Mm-hmm. That's why they're sideways. It's been the same thing for the last 4 years.
You still have...
Is Jimmy G healthy? We brought Trey Lance in. Is he going to start? He's going to start, but then he's hurt. And now we have Jimmy G, so it's like it's the same situation every year for the Niners. It's sideways.
Now they're Brock Purdy, and everything's just all convoluted. Yes, they always have the framework. They always have the roster. They always have the talent everywhere except quarterback. And I think that's why you haven't seen them really compete yet. You have to have that position stapled in. You have to have that position top of the league if you're going to win. And yes, can Brock Purdy come in and win you a couple games here and there? Sure. We saw it last season. But is he the kind of quarterback that can sustain a season? I don't think so. I don't think he is. Like you said, when he throws the ball, you see the ball die. The ball visibly dies as he throws it.
I think he can sustain it for a season, but the question is, like, is he going to sustain a Pro Bowl level play? Probably not. Could he be Derek Carr? Yeah, I think he can.
I don't know. Derek Carr's good, though.
I think Derek Carr's good, but I think with that framework, he could be very comparable to a Derek Carr.
Sure.
Can he not wreck the Mercedes? Yes.
Yes.
That's all he needs to do.
Right.
We'll see. He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah. And it's not like they're in the most competitive conference of all time, but at the end of the day, it's still the NFL.
I think the Cardinals are tanking.
Right. And I think
The
the
Rams
Rams are
sucked
going
last
to be
year.
yeah,
They'll
the
be
Rams are going to
good.
be better, though.
They'll be
Rams
better.
are going to be better. The Seahawks are going to be pretty damn good.
They'll be okay.
It's going to be interesting there, too. Okay, let's go Jacksonville Jaguars next.
I'm going to go up, an ascending star, second year under Doug Peterson, really good offensive talent. They have a pass rush, so they're going to get up in games. Pass rushers, pin yours back, go get them. I mean, that's a good roster.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, ascending quarterback, ascending coach.
In a bad division.
Yeah. So the division got worse, they got better. That's an up.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the things I've heard about Jacksonville.
They could win 14 games. I wouldn't even be surprised.
It's
6-0 in their division.
Their schedule is insanely easy.
6-0 in their division.
Just all around, though, their schedule is the easiest in the league.
It is.
It's there for the taking.
Could they be the first seed in the AFC?
I heard this from a couple different places.
I mean, KC, LA, and Denver are gonna beat the hell out of each other. The
Yes,
AFC
but-
East is gonna. Or, I'm sorry, AFC East, AFC
North
North.
is going to do the same thing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they're the one, but I think they're a very high seed.
Well, you got to remember the one is just all about wins losses, right? Even as the one, say Kansas City, say they see Kansas City or Buffalo or somebody in the. Actually, I'm not huge on Buffalo. Kansas City or Cincinnati in the divisional round. I would probably take Cincinnati or Kansas City, even though Jacksonville has a better record.
Yeah.
So they can be the one without being the favorite.
Sure. That's going to be cool to watch. I'm excited to see them. Last team here, though, we got the Lions. The Lions have been.
See, I was back and forth between sideways and up on this one. I'll give them an up because I do think the division got worse, and I do like the Jahmyr Gibbs draft pick. I like the fit. I don't like the value of the pick. Running back a little bit early for my taste, but at the end of the day, he's going to make them a better team. I think he's a better DeAndre Swift in my eyes. The offensive line has young players getting better. They're going to continue to get better, and we know Jared Goff with protection can be a top 10 guy. Swear to God. Statistically, Jared Goff can be he's 8, 9, or 10, but can be a top 10 statistical guy with a good offensive line time to throw.
Detroit needs it.
I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, like it a lot. It's a slight up.
So you have the quarterback, you have a weapon, you have the defense, for the most part.
Yeah. And the division got worse. Aaron's out of the division. There's no way the Vikings go 11-0 and one-score games again.
No.
I mean, Chicago will be slightly better, but let's not act like they're going to be world beaters.
It's true.
It's not.
All right, so we got the Jets trending up, Cowboys trending down, Steelers going up, Packers going down, 49ers on a sideways slide, the Jaguars going up, and the Lions also going up. It'll be interesting to see. Very excited to watch. Can't wait for Scott Hansen to give me all the action on NFL Red Zone this year. It's going to be... Yeah, I can't wait. I was looking forward to it ever since the last week of Red Zone last year. So
I love Scott Hansen.
It's a great production all around.
I would agree.
Guys, let's go. We're going to transition into some sports news here. We got some stories for you. Let's get into it.
All right, story number 1 here. Luis Arias records 5 hits Monday, raises his average to 400. Could be the first person to hit 400 since, I don't even know, like Tony Gwynn, Ted Williams, one of those, I don't know.
Crazy.
He is... No, I didn't get to see, Tony Gwynn hit live, He was out of the league by the time I was watching baseball. But I have seen... Right, I'm a student of the game. I have recorded his swing, right? I have tried to replicate his swing. Obviously, I'm a righty, but still, nonetheless, take notes from it. I teach baseball. I give lessons, right? I have played since I could walk.
Yeah.
Now, it's not as pretty, but I would argue, technically speaking, Luis Arias might be the best pure hitter since Tony Gwynn. I mean, it is that good. Being able to go the other way, hit it where it's pitched, hit every pitch, really, right? Like, soft away, that's fine. He'll sit back, take it the other way. Like, you go up, he's going to pull it, right? Like, you try to give him some velocity inside, he's going to bring his hands in and yank it down the line. Like, he is a really, really good hitter.
I think his swing path and the plane of the swing also is what gives him such good probability to hit the baseball, no matter where it's pitched, right? If you get that good bat lag behind you and you're able to get that, maximize the time through the zone with the barrel of the bat, you're going to be more successful statistically. And he has like the perfect swing, and hitting 400 in the MLB
is insane.
Is I would say the most impressive stat in sports to this point.
Stat, yes. I mean, like, obviously, the most impressive single moment would be, like, perfect game, 4-home run game, all that type of stuff. But, yeah.
Like, overall
over the stat, yeah.
If you can hit 400, that is ridiculous.
I think it's certainly up there. Yeah, certainly up there. Story number 2 here. Big move in the NBA. Bradley Beal, former guard for the Wizards, being dealt to the Phoenix Suns. Landry Shamet, a bench player. He's a guard. Former Wichita State Shocker for those out there. Remember when Wichita State went on those runs in the in March Madness?
Yeah.
So Landry Shamet and Chris Paul will go to the Wizards. Now, there's some speculation. I would imagine that Chris Paul will probably be bought out by the Wizards. They're looking for expiring contracts anyways. So they'll probably buy out Chris Paul. And he'll be a free agent, go anywhere he wants. Speculation, he'll go to the Clippers or Lakers maybe because he wants to live in LA. I think Clippers is a good fit. But Bradley Beal to the Suns, I don't hate it. Then they still don't have any bench. Now, I'm also not worried a ton about bench, right? If you have 3 really good scorers in their prime, I'm not super concerned if I'm getting scoring from the 7th or 8th guy off your bench. But they do need to get some guys on the bench that can defend, some 3-and-D guys. Can you come in and play 12 minutes, knock down a 3, maybe a couple free throws here, and play good defense? Give me 5 points and in 12 minutes play good defense.
Sure, yeah.
They can go find guys like that on the market for cheap, so they should be just fine. I don't know if it makes them better than Denver in the West, but it makes them at least close to competing with Denver. Now, again, I worry about the lack of size now because
we have things have shifted that way.
When Jokic is freaking huge, so it's like if you got to look around. If you got to get out of the West and Jokic is in the West, how do you plan to defend Jokic? Right now, I don't know how you do. I mean, you still have Ayton under contract. Probably move Ayton for some pieces. Maybe if you can move DeAndre Ayton for a lesser offensive center, but a better defensive center, like a Miles Turner has been thrown around with the Pacers. It's interesting.
Like you said, if you can get Jokic from 37 to 31 points, that's a win, which should not be a win, though.
No. I mean, he's so skilled. It's like if you go defend him on the perimeter, somehow, some way, even though he's not quick, he's going to get by you. You bring help so he doesn't get by you, well, that's fine. He'll pass the open man. You put a smaller guy on him so you can defend him better on the outside. Well, it doesn't really matter because then he'll just get down low. He'll post you up and he'll put it in. It's just like he's got an answer for every defensive strategy. Even against the zone, Miami tried running a zone. They had an answer for it. Also credit to Michael Malone there for that answer.
Yeah, for sure.
Story number 3 here. Another NBA story. Draymond Green has opted out of his player option, so he's now an unrestricted free agent.
Where do you think he goes?
I think he probably stays in Golden State. Just because you opt out doesn't mean like you're leaving. It probably just means he wants an extension basically. He wants a new contract. So there's only 1 year, I think like $30 million left on his deal. So he's going to opt out of that, and he'll probably sign something like 3 years, but for more annual money. He'll probably stick around. Instead of $30 million, he'll get 35 or what, I don't know, whatever he wants. It's not a huge deal. If Draymond's asking for like $40 million a year, I personally would have trouble paying that.
I don't know if it's worth it.
I don't know if it's worth it. And I know he's a good defender and he's kind of like a catalyst and a leader on the team.
Yeah.
Am I really gonna pay $40 to $45 million for a
rah-rah
soul guy?
Yeah.
I need 20 a game. For $40 million, I need 20 a game. Or I need you to be like the best rim protector ever and 10 assists or something like that. You have to be special at something, and he's not special defensively anymore. He's punching teammates, so he's not necessarily the rah-rah guy. $45 million, I can't do it. $40 million, can't do it. 35, I could probably do it. You'd have to move
you
off.
You sleep at night there, but yeah.
They're probably gonna have to move off Klay Thompson though too.
To make that work, I don't know.
If he wants any more.
I don't. Ew.
Well, I would take Draymond over Klay. Klay right now with all the injuries is a declining player. I mean, Draymond isn't necessarily ascending, but he still provides more value, I think.
Okay.
Klay wants a max deal, so you're talking like $50 million a year. Good God,
I would not pay that. I would never pay that.
I don't know. Okay, story number 4 here. Wyndham Clark wins the U.S. Open, right? So he was neck and neck with Rory McIlroy. Rory Rory finishes at 9 under. Wyndham Clark just a tick better at 10 under to win the U.S. Open. It was in L.A. this past weekend. It was an entertaining Sunday. Wyndham was up by like 2 or 3 strokes on Rory. Next thing you know, Rory birdies one, he doesn't even birdie one. He was at 9 under like the entire round. Wyndham Clark was like 3 strokes up. He bogeys a couple holes down the stretch, and Rory was 1 tee box ahead of him. So Rory finished at 9 under. Wyndham Clark has 1 hole left, has to at least par it to stay, a stroke ahead and win, and he did. Good for Wyndham Clark. It was a pretty impressive performance in LA this weekend.
Yeah, it's this time of the year where I love golf.
Yeah, it's not one of those things where I will like plan my day around it, but if I do know that there's a good golf event, I'll be like, oh, like on Sunday, only thing that's going on is golf.
Yeah.
Right now, College World Series every now and then, but it's going to be golf on TV most of the time.
Right, just throw it on in the background.
I mean,
make a drink or two.
Yeah.
Just relax.
Yeah. It's a perfect sport to relax to.
Yeah.
And you can, see, I have a bad habit of going on my phone even when I'm watching something.
Yeah.
I'm a screenager. It's fine. I'm all right. Well, I'm not a teenager anymore, but you get the point.
Yeah.
I like looking on my phone. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Golf is a perfect sport where I can look at my phone and I know exactly what's happening on the TV. Like, you don't have to, it's like football, I need to watch. Like, I need to watch every second of every play to see every little thing.
Yeah.
Golf, it's like,
Trust me, we've watched sports together for a long time. If football comes on, you're not looking.
No, you got
to
be zoned in on football.
Yeah, it's
even basketball
it's a whole
for that
different
matter.
animal.
But yeah.
No, I don't watch a whole lot of basketball though.
March Madness
and the NBA playoffs.
NBA playoffs, finals especially. Yeah.
Outside of that, not too much. It's mainly football, and then any type of baseball that's on.
Good amount of baseball.
After that, we'll go to UFC.
College World Series. Can't wait.
You're not looking at your phone during UFC at all unless it's in between fights and you're placing bets on DraftKings or FanDuel.
Yeah, or even in between rounds real quick. You got about 20, 30 seconds, send a text or something,
Which I love about the UFC because...
Yeah. Mom, I'm alive, I'm just tanked, you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
I am absolutely...
Little text.
Boned.
Yeah, right. Like, 11 beers deep, but I'm fine. Okay, now Izzy Adesanya, let's go. Like,
all right, here you go, $50. Throw my... Here we go.
Bo Nickel, tap out first round.
What's that? I have a $700 credit card bill this month. Let's try to
win, double down, parlay it. Yep, absolutely. All right, well, but anyway, you mentioned baseball, College World Series. We're going to talk a little bit of College World Series coming out of the break here, so don't go anywhere, guys.
Let's go. Third segment on Thursday, June 22nd. Should be a good one here. We got college baseball coming at you to finish up. And it should, this is like the most interesting thing in sports right now, at least to me.
I would agree.
I am just enamored with college baseball. I love this time of the year and the College World Series in Omaha and just everything about it. It's fantastic to watch, fantastic to cover. So we're going to talk about that in this segment, but go to theissuesports.com. Check out the newsletter. It comes out every single Wednesday. Sign up for it. Right there on the homepage, just type the email in, click sign up, and then go to the email and just accept it there. And you will be receiving the newsletter every single week. And while you're there, check out the shop too. We got all the merchandise in the shop, and we have a lot of big announcements coming up. So check the website, follow the social medias. Everything's in the description of the episode. But don't miss out just because you weren't paying attention. Go ahead and throw a subscribe, throw a like, throw a follow. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I've been really digging the College World Series. So I actually went to a game last year in Omaha. And one thing that kind of stands out is it's not just, hey, College World Series, like, they're at their own individual ballparks. Like, no, it's a ballpark, 40,000 strong. It's an event. The entire town, the surrounding city, right? Like, everything nearby is geared to the College World Series for 2 weeks out of the year. And same thing goes for like the effort and the attention for the media. It's like you're not going to get a ton of attention, ton of media throughout the year for college baseball, right? It's just the fact of the matter. Maybe you'll start to see it increase with the regionals and even the the conference tournaments, the SEC tournament, Big Ten, or whatever. Start to see those the media coverage increase then. But it really picks up with the College World Series. It's on ESPN all day long. I think 2 o'clock usually is when the first game starts. Second game starts at 7. There's usually 2 games every day. And I'm sitting there like, why? Because it's not just college baseball. College sports in general have really started to thrive as of late. And by as of late, I mean like the last 5 to 10 years where it's like, wow, it's exploding, right? Like College softball, for example, has never experienced higher ratings. College softball is the same. It's the same thing. It's the same sport. College baseball's ratings have exploded. Women's college basketball, which for the first time in my life, I watched like more than 13 seconds of women's college basketball.
Clark, man.
Caitlin Clark got me to a television set. Even that Angel Reese for LSU, didn't like her, but that's kind of why I watched. And now they have another player from, I think, Louisville, something Plath or something like that, that's transferring to LSU, who was in a bit of like a heated game with Angel Reese, is now joining her in LSU. So, like, I'm going to watch college football. Now, depending on where you're at, the ratings kind of fluctuate. It's very regional, right? Very South-dependent. SEC is big, but overall ratings are going up, right? So, college sports as a whole, we're seeing the ratings increase. And I'm like, why is that? And the more I watch the college game, the more I see why the ratings are going up. It's a different level of passion. It's a different level of urgency, right? Because it's not the talent. It's not the product itself that is selling more, on TV, selling more in-person sales, selling more merchandise, blah, 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 blah. Because, let's be real. Like, anybody... Now, Paul Skeens aside, I think anybody that would go from college baseball right up to the pros would get annihilated, right? So it's clearly not the talent level. Same thing goes for basketball, women's college basketball, whatever the sport may be. Going from college to the pro, those players would most likely get crushed. It's not the product, it's not the talent. It's the urgency of the product. Where, like, when you are watching Chase Burns, for example, who on Monday threw a beautiful 6 innings in relief, 2 hits, no earned for the Tennessee Volunteers to send them, or to stave off elimination and to eliminate Stanford. That is, first of all, an all-time performance. Let's stop there. And he is going to be a very, very good, he's a very good prospect for the league. I don't know if he ends up making it to the pros and how he ends up doing in the MLB, but very good prospect nonetheless. But you can see his heart is on his sleeve when he's pitching. Like, there is a different level of urgency and passion each and every pitch, each and every game in college sports. And I have just had such a great appreciation through watching, the conference tournaments and then the regionals, then the super regionals, and now Omaha, the College World Series. Such an appreciation for these student athletes and what they do each and every day to get ready to go on and show out for their school. Been impressive. I love it.
I think... Yes, 100%. It's the intensity. I think a lot of it too. People that get annoyed with the divas in professional sports.
That's another thing. Yeah,
I think there are a lot of old school people out there, and just people that like their athletes to be athletes and only athletes, right?
Yeah, a lot of people do. I personally don't care a ton. I can separate, artist from artist, athlete from their opinions or whatever. But
sure. That is a big narrative. And when you start seeing players in the professional realm start, making waves and causing turbulence,
yeah,
I think that can turn people off
100%
from a particular sport. And then you look at college, and everybody's fighting for that opportunity. Everybody is on the same level, and now with NILs, we've seen it shift and change at least a little bit.
Yeah, but
where they're starting to get paid, but it's not anything like a professional athlete.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the best guys are still like you still have to fight, even if you are one of the top guys.
100%. And I think that the humbleness and the humility that's still in college sports is really part of the reason that it's so successful and being driven.
I would agree. I would also say it feels more relatable, right? Like,
yeah.
And I've always said this with Steph Curry, right? Like, I think Steph Curry, it's up in the air, but I would argue he's more liked than LeBron James. I think LeBron James all time is a greater player, right? He can guard anywhere 1 through 5. It doesn't matter. Like, we're not getting into that. But I personally like Steph Curry better, and I think a lot of people do because he is more relatable, right? Like, there's 1% of the population is, what's LeBron, 6'9", 260?
Yeah.
He's a linebacker. Nobody can relate to what he is able to do on the court. Almost anybody can go pick up a ball and try to emulate Steph Curry's game. You can take a step back 27-footer. Now, I'm not saying you're going to make it, but you can play similar to Steph Curry, right? You
Yeah.
cannot play a LeBron James style of basketball unless you are as physically gifted as him, which almost nobody is. Like
Right.
college baseball, in that same regard, and college sports in general, the athletes feel more relatable, right? Where you're just like, I remember going to college. I remember the struggles of class and relationships, and I got to go to the dining hall where it's a buffet. But then you're like, wait a minute. So they're gonna do that, and they go to lift, and then practice, and then film study, and then they're gonna turn around tomorrow, and then they got to leave for a brutal SEC weekend series at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can relate to like the struggle and the grind that is college athletics.
And I think the relatability aspect too comes into play when we all went to high school. We all knew people from high school that ended up playing college sports, but you don't always know somebody that ends up making it to the pros and ends up playing in the MLB, in the NFL, no matter, pick your professional league. So it's easier to relate with people like, we could run down the list of people that we've had on the show that we've gone to high school with that now play Division I college sports, whether that's football or baseball.
Yeah, even basketball.
And basketball. It's more relatable. You're right. And I think we're starting to see that trend grow. College sports taking root and really growing. And that's evident from what we do on the media side of things.
Yeah.
You can see it all over our research page, all over our review page. We were looking up stuff for the show before we started recording, and we were trying to find topics and what would be best placed this week and what we should put next week, and trying to structure when we're going to do different segments. College baseball was all over the
Omaha,
research
college
tab.
baseball World Series, yeah.
Every single tab.
Yeah.
So it's growing in popularity, and as it should, because it's a fantastic product.
Yep. That's all we got.
Yeah, that's it for the show today, guys. Thanks for stopping in. Make sure you go to the social medias, follow everything, subscribe, like I said before. We really appreciate it, and we will see you guys next Thursday. That was The Issue.